Well, hello traders and investors. I'm L.A. Little and this is your daily NeoTA Wrap. We take a look at these markets and we're doing it from a neoclassical perspective. Each time we're asking ourselves what happened today, what does it tell us about the coming ones? We do this show 4 times a week, every Monday through Thursday. It's broadcast at or before 10 o'clock Eastern Time. It's archived on YouTube and it's under the channel L.A. Little. If you haven't subscribed and you want to, just reach up in the right hand corner and do so. Anytime I push content, you'll get a notification. It's a great, easy way to keep up with me and what's going on in these markets. And speaking of what's going on, down days today. It's the first time we've seen across the board down days in a very, very long time. And so we have, the Dow down a third, about a half, Russell down a full percent. Today we went short on that Russell, held that overnight. We'll see if that works out. I feel like, a Comanche a warrior, riding on the side of my horse with my ear to the ground, listening for the buffaloes or something. Every day we're looking for, an opportunity to short this market because it's so extended. But we keep waiting and waiting and attempting, a little short stab and jab type moves. We may be very close, though. I've said that last week. I thought it was going to happen last week on that 2-bar reversal on the weekly that we pointed out, which, by the way, we do a weekly show on Sunday evening. And if you haven't, tuned into that, you should. We try to look a little bit broader perspective instead of a daily. Elsewhere, let me see here. Hong Kong down tonight. All right, looks like it's down, taking a big hit. Same thing here on the Nikkei tonight. The DAX was up today, but gave it all up, right? Almost flat by the end of the day. Gold was down a bit. Dollar down slightly, but the dollar's still hanging in there. Really hasn't changed that much. Gold took another hit, but I suspect if these markets start to go to the downside, you're going to see a bid probably come back in to that gold market. So we'll see how that plays out. Let's take a look at the charts and see what we got here tonight as things get going. I'm going to start over in Germany since we had that give up, right? I wanted to see what kind of push we had. So the push was back up into that kind of a gap area. Didn't have any volume, right? Just totally gave it up. This thing still wants to come down to the bottom of this Draghi bar. So if we draw this bar, right, it's trying to get down here into this area. And that doesn't look any different tonight than it did last week. Looking at France, France has already traded in the Draghi bar. This is interesting. So France actually trades underneath the Draghi bar last week, right, on Friday, gave it up. And so if we draw that across there, right, here's the bar. We trade up underneath it. Today, what do? We get up, try to get back into it. Top 43.78. If you look at that low, it was 43.50. So you get over it and you close, and you get over it, you close back underneath at 345, right, 5 points under. That thing's going to reverse and kind of try to come back down. So you get up into it, you don't have the volume, you give it up. It tells you the buyers are unwilling to buy at the higher and higher price zones. And that's really what you're trying to figure out, right? Are they going to buy it in here or not? No. They said, heck with that. I don't want it. Give it up. Look at Switzerland. Switzerland had a nice little bounce today. Now, Switzerland has been, on the hot seat for quite a while. If you look at the small caps in Switzerland, they're doing pretty good. But if you look elsewhere, like the large caps here and the broad index, it's really struggling. Gets back up. You got a swing point low. I failed to notice this on Friday, but it actually got underneath that low, right? Was unable to stay under it. Does a kind of a hammer pickaxe reversal and gets a little push back up today. But the key now is going to be can it get back over this top? You got all your resistance right in here, and that's what it's coming back into. I suspect it's going to have a hard time there. If we look over in the overseas Asia markets, Nikkei, right? Nikkei's been hammered. Looks like they're going to get hammered again tonight. I don't see any relief there. You got a high volume, wide price spread. Well, actually high volume, low. Big bar down there. If you pull over the weekly chart, you can see the wide price spread bar. I think it's going to go back to that bar, and with the strength of the yen, I don't see how it's going to prevent it eventually going to get itself back down in that area. Hong Kong didn't trade last night, neither did Shanghai, but I've had some questions about Shanghai, so let me tackle them while I'm here. Now, question is Shanghai bullish enough for you to want to play it? It had a break over some swing point highs. You had this high, that high. You get over them here, right? Push up. You get into this area here, whereas all the congestion, the 3,000 numbers, that looks to me like that's going to have a hard time. It did get a little reversal on Friday. It can test this swing point high again, but it doesn't look to me like it's got the volume, and it doesn't look like it's going to be able to get over it. So I suspect this is going to return back down the other way. If we look at it on the weekly, you're coming into the swing point low. There's another one here. That bottom was 30.52, and you got right up into it, 30.28. Trying to attack into it, more than 6 bars. That looks like it's primed to fail on that first attempt. Let's see, what else do we have? If we go over, I was looking at the major sectors today, and I want to just point out a couple of these. IBB, the biotech, right? This thing was primed to break out, gets over that swing point high, but gives it up. Had the volume, so it should try to do it again. That was one of the strength areas today. But if you look elsewhere, this market, other than healthcare today, looked pretty sick. Healthcare was the only sector pushing higher, breaks over a swing point high, trying to do a little bit of a baton handoff here to a new runner in terms of the bullish run. But you got one runner and everybody else is going backwards today. So I don't think it's going to go all that far. Let's take a look at the general markets here. We'll start with the S&P 500. You actually had some over-unders again. We've seen this before. S&P wasn't able to get over the top, though. 2075.07 got to 2074.02. Didn't have the volume. But again, that's not a failure, right? Despite this long, exhausting move off the lows with an angle that is not capable of being supported, you got to get down to something like this, right? It still doesn't want to give it up, at least not yet. But if we look at the other indexes, right, you get into mixed signals again. Top here yesterday, this is on the NASDAQ on Friday, 49.1709. You get over it, 1775, back under it, less volume. Again, 2-bar reversal. How many times have we seen it? Well, more than I want to count. Actually, you've only seen a couple of them. One in the S&P, now this one. But you also see it here in the NDX. You got the exact same story, over, back under, 45.33. Oh, I take that back. NDX didn't get over the top. 45.34, yeah, so this is a mixed signal. The other one that did get over the top was the Russell. And the Russell has slightly over, slightly less volume. So you got two telling you, hey, I can still try again. And you got two more saying, hey, I'm over and I can't keep it up there. And I'm probably going to try to trade back down. Folks, this market, I've said many times, right? This market can't continue this kind of a run without some sort of a larger retrace. And as I said at the top of the show, feeling like a Comanche with the ear to the ground, you don't want the buffalo herd to run right over you. And so, when I'm looking at this, and you get this extended, yeah, you don't have to try to play it short unless you're just, making some day trade type stuff until you get some signals. Today we got some mixed signals again, but it was worth taking it. We took it on the Russell where there was the over-under. But, in general, you've got to keep your ear to the ground because this thing's going to turn. And when it does, you really don't want a lot of inventory because the move back down, even though I suspect it's going to get bought, it could be a violent move to the downside, especially with some of these stocks that have gone up 40, 50%. They're going to get hit. They're going to get hit hard when they get hit. Let's take a final look here at the currencies. I want to show you the dollar again. I'm going to pop up the dollar chart. Actually, let's start with the USO, which is a decent measure of the WTI right now. Folks, this is straight down. On the WTI, there hasn't been these up bars. It's been 9 days to the downside. I suspect it's going to get a bounce somewhere, but right now they're taking back that stupid run to the top side, 50%er, right?
ain't going to happen, right? Nothing's changed fundamentally. This market's just as blown out as it was before this massive short squeeze. This massive short squeeze that we see here was part, or a big part, of what took place in the massive squeeze in the market, right? Now this thing is coming back down. So far the market's ignoring it. That's okay. It can ignore it for a while. But essentially, that huge push as a result of this move and all those stocks that move with it, it's going to get repealed. Those energy stocks, a lot of those stocks that had high short interest that just got squeezed higher and higher and higher, they're about to give it up. And that part of this is going to make it hard to continue up. I was going to the dollar. I wanted to show you the dollar here. The dollar holds, actually it broke a swing point low on Friday. It holds in that area today and starts a retest, regen to the backside. There's not a very large candle here, this candle, so that's the bearish retest regenerate zone. So in other words, if you push back over here, all of a sudden you kind of change. That's your early warning system, right? All of a sudden you'll change this idea to something more like that, and then you can push up into these bars up here. So my take here is the dollar is going to try and turn. When it does, that's going to put some pressure potentially on other spots of the market that has ignored this weak dollar, in particular equities probably. And we'll see though how much it pulls back, or pushes up I should say, and how much that translates into a pullback in that part of the world, Europe, which is reeling from the strength on the euro. This is killing the euro. That's why the euro can't move. That's why we're seeing as much problem as we're seeing in Japan as well, right? It's up at the swing point highs on the daily chart. Same thing if we look at Switzerland. They're all doing the same thing. Once the dollar reverses, pushes back up a little bit, that'll take some of the pressure off of this, ease some of the pressure in those countries' equities where those currencies are at highs now. And that's when we'll get a better tell if that's really what's killing those markets or if it's something else. That's it for tonight. I expect this market to try to pull back tomorrow. Have a great one. I'll see you then. Take care. Good night.